Sure. So as you mentioned, I have obviously played a lot of different roles in past 12 years. And in last 5 or 6 years, when I kind of gotten into the product as a role of a PO, and then now I'm playing a role of a product manager. But really, I think if I were to look back and see, I also made a change at some point of time from a different role to a product role, right? The best way to start off is do some kind of assessment, right? And this assessment is not to tell you that whether you can be a product owner or not product owner, right? But rather, it allows you to understand what are the areas where you have to focus more, right? What are the areas you are really good at it, right? What are your strengths which you can kind of play in very easily, right? So this kind of assessment is very important. I've seen people all the times moving from engineering roles to product roles, sometimes market facing role, the marketing professionals, they move into the product role, sometimes design professionals move into product roles. And people have been really successful because, of course, this role requires you to have competencies in the different areas. But obviously, there are a few things which are kind of very critical to this. I'll talk about those. And of course, I mean, there are a lot of other things which you have to be good at to kind of succeed in this role. So when we talk about assessment, I think the first thing is there's a common term which we'll come across is are you good at problem solving, right? And I just want to kind of add some qualifying statement here, right? More often than not, what I've seen in my career and of my colleagues is you are not supposed to solve the problems. You have a team who will help you solve the problems, right? What you should be good at is, can you facilitate a problem solving for someone, right? That's the more important than are you actually good at problem solving, right? So there's a good difference between these two, right? And if you are really good at facilitating those workshops, the meetings, the analysis, the brainstorming, I think you're good there, right? The other thing is just trying to be like very good working with the different teams, a lot of different people. As I mentioned in my kind of previous answer, that I work with like 4 or 5 people every day, and then obviously depending upon the product, you may be working with multiple enterprise level teams for your product, right? So you have to be really good at working with people. I think there's no getting away from that. More often than not, you would end up working with a large team, with the multiple teams. So you have to be very good at working with them. The other thing would be understanding your customers, right? Sometimes we call it a customer empathy, because what we need to understand is whatever work we are doing as a part of as a role of a PO, right? Ultimately, it solves someone's problem, right? And if you don't understand your customers really well, and if you don't try to understand that part, right, it's very difficult to solve the problem if you don't understand it. So how good is your understanding of your customer is something very important. Other important thing which I feel is, and you can probably look at in your career and see how you fared in this area, is influencing without authority. More often than not, your role where you will be part of a big team, right? You'll have a support from engineering, you'll have support from product team, finance team, business teams, a lot of other teams, right? But they will not be in your same organization as you, right? But you are supposed to kind of drive them, help them move forward, right? So you should be really good at influencing it without having a real authority, as in they are part of your team or reporting to you, because that's where a lot of people I have seen coming in from different roles, they struggle a little bit, because in the past they have a team and they're kind of working with the team and they're really good kind of delivering something when it's assigned to them or their team. But when it comes to kind of working with multiple teams where you don't have a lot of authority, right, that becomes very critical how you can influence your decisions. And I think not to say kind of the last but not the least thing is the very effective communication, right? You are working with so many teams and you want to make sure that you are communicating very effectively. With the COVID situation, as you mentioned earlier, right? You are working with people on the phone, on the meetings, teleconferencing, and it definitely plays a big role. So that's a kind of assessment piece. But I mean, I'll take a question if you have anything, but I think the next thing I was going to talk about is once you have assessed, what do you do next?
Yeah, please go ahead. So I just want to summarize what you just said. So first is introspecting what inside you and realizing whether product owner role is best fit for you or not, irrespective of whether the industry is saying everything goes agile, either fit into scrum master, product owner, RTE, or some role or not. So it's really important for an individual to self assess. And then you have also laid down the parameter beautifully. So for example, you need to be a facilitator. There are people to work along. You need to empathize with customers so that you understand their problem. You have to be influencer even if you are not at the management position. And of course, you need to have a good communication skill, not only to able to understand people, but let them understand your viewpoints as well. So that's, I can understand from this assessment point of view, and you have put it very rightly. So thank you very much, and please go ahead with the next section of your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So I think and thanks for summarizing it, right? The next thing is once you have done your assessment and you know where you're good at, what are the things which you want to focus on. I think what I've also seen is it's always easier to get into a product owner or product manager role within your own organization, right? Than kind of trying to look out and go to a new organization. I'm not saying it's not possible. A lot of people have done it, but since you're trying to make a move where you're changing your role, right? It's you have been a part of organization where you have done some good things. People know you for certain things, right? So when you try to take up a new role within the same organization, you don't have to prove yourself as an kind of a individual, right? You're proving your skills in the new role, right? Versus if you go to a new organization, first it's very difficult to kind of crack a role, a product role, if you have not played the role before. But even if you somehow get in, right, you have to prove yourself, and then you have to kind of be there in that role and then do all these things. So I think always try to find, if possible, within the same team or same portfolio or same area which you're working in. If not, in a larger organization, if you have some opportunities, you should try to do that. One other thing which people I've seen don't leverage it, but I think that's one of the easiest kind of way to kind of get into this is trying to find a mentor, right? So if you are trying to get into a product owner role, try to find within your organization or outside your organization, within your network, if there are people who are playing a role of a product owner, product manager, right? Talk to them, right? Understand what kind of their feedback is, try to incorporate that feedback and just kind of go through the process. That would help you more than kind of going through a lot of material online, because it's always easier if you have a mentor, right? And the last thing is the certification, right? Obviously, certifications are not a panacea, right? Where you can just get a certified and get a job kind of thing. But it's more like if you are going to do a certification, it shows the other team where you're going, or other organization, that you're serious about it, right? You have done your homework, right? So if possible, try to go for some certification if you have one done already, right? Like you have a CSPO, which is kind of, then you have a SAFE as a POPM, which allows you to kind of gives very basic about what is a PO role. Again, the role changes organization to organization, product to product, but these certification would give you a good foundation grounding on what are the basics, right? And then, of course, you can learn more from your mentors, you can learn from the online material which is available. But yeah.
So thank you very much, Sandeep, for summarizing it. So if you are planning to start your career as a product owner, one of the product owner recommendation is, rather than moving from one organization to another, if you already have built credibility, trust, try to see role in the same organization. Second is, try to find a good mentor that can lead throughout your journey of product owner. And third, in this world, people also ask for external certification. So those certification not only give you knowledge about it, but also build credibility. And that's very well put up in those three dimensions